Hi guys, welcome once again. So I was listening to a podcast this week and I learned a new word and I've always heard the word before, but it hasn't really synced in the way it synced in this week for me. And the word is sequencing. It's actually sequencing in life. So the title of this video series is sequencing in life, right? So sometimes we believe that life is already moving past us, like we missed the bus or we missed the train, right? Our friends are buying houses, getting married, and doing great things, getting promotions, and we're just here. We haven't even figured out the next step of our lives, right? I I'm in that shoe right now, and I can actually relate, right? So that's why I did a little research on sequencing, and I said, let me share with you guys. So one thing I got to realize in the midst of my research is life is a sequence, right? It is not a race. And a sequence has an order. It's just like when we're doing, is it quantitative or mathematics then when we're younger? There's the odd number or even number sequence. And that's how life is, right? There is an order. And because there is an order, you have to take it one step at a time, right? So I I really want to share like a quick thinking around sequencing and why we shouldn't rush the process, and why we should understand and trust the process. As long as we are diligent in our work, as long as we do what we're supposed to do per day, per time, um, eventually it will yield like a very, very good reward, right? Even the word of God would say, see a man diligent in his word work, right? It would stand before kings, and that's the mindset would have as individuals. We don't want to compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 5 and saying, oh, this person does not have two heads, now why can't I do what this person is doing? uh just reminded me of this song, Dangote. Dangote ò lè rí méjì. Can't remember. Na beg I dey beg oh. Yeah, like Dangote does not have two heads, right? So why shouldn't I be able to do that? And even as children, we've had situations whereby our parents compare us to other children, right? So it's been a norm, like in our society, a weird norm, though. But this is just me trying to change or basically have a reorientation as a person and also do that to my lovelies, right? So one thing I would cite two examples: music. Music would not be music if the keys and the notes are not played in order, right? Just like jumping from line 1 to line Z, like line 10, right? So it becomes noise. But when you're able to play note by note in line, it just makes it music. And it's just like baking too. um when I was learning baking at first, my tutor would tell me once you're going anti-clockwise with the butter and sugar, you should just keep going and don't change that move, you get. And this is the thing you add after this, after the eggs you put this, after the butter you put this, you get. So you can't just jumble everything together, it just makes it come out weird. And that's how life is. Once we try to rush the process, we end up just fumbling, and it's not good eventually, right? So here's one thing again, here's why many of us struggle. We struggle because we compare, and comparison is really, really bad, right? So real step happens step by step. Real progress happens step by step. That's one thing I want us to hold there. Because imagine climbing a staircase, right? And you're jumping the stairs. You get tired and worn out easily. But when you take one step at a time, right? You get steady, you get better, you get steady, and it's just easier for you. So I want us to basically just try to ask ourselves, okay, what's the next thing I can do today to make my life better? So instead of thinking about the next 5 years and what you're achieving in the next 5 years, why not assess the next 1 month? right? Access the next 1 month and just see what can you do differently to make it better, right? And it's not about speed. Life is not about speed. It's actually about sequence, basically. I'll use that word a lot because that's what I learned. So you have to, and sequence has an order, and you have to take it one step at a time and trust the process. So I'm not saying you should lazy around. I'm not saying you should just sit back, relax, and maybe everything will figure itself out. No, you have to figure it out as an individual. Pray to God, help for I don't know, pray to your God, right? um Tell him to let him lead you and be diligent, right? And eventually it just comes out good, right? So that's one thing I want us to take out of today. The fact that we need to trust the process, we need to be diligent, and we don't need to compare ourselves with anybody. We don't know what the other person has gone through. We don't know how the person started his own process. Just trust your process and you'll be fine. So you can share with me. I want to hear about our experiences. I want to hear about what we're currently going through, what we feel like we're lagging on, and the process we're going through currently. And let's just share opinions. Let's talk about it and we'll be fine eventually. As a lady, I've always want to pressure myself. Oh, at 28, I want to be this, and look at me now. I'm not even that, right? So I want us to be intentional about going a step at a time and trusting every journey. Trust me, it will be a walk in the park. It might be a long one, but we'll be fine. Last. That's last we go there, all right. Yeah. Bye guys.